Hey, Naturally Lydia here. Today we're going to be making bagels, and I do this at least once a month. They're so delicious. They make great sandwiches, breakfast. They're so easy. And so we're just going to go through a step-by-step process this morning. It's going to involve yeast. This is a yeast bread. It will involve a water bath, which I will show you what to do. So simple. You can customize it and put your own toppings on top. Maybe a cheese bagel, an everything bagel, you name it, you can do it. So let's go through and make some delicious bagels this morning with some freshly milled spelt. I've went ahead and put my 2 1/4 cups of warm water straight into my bowl, as well as a tablespoon of salt and 1 1/2 tablespoons of yeast. And I'm putting in my brown sugar right now. It's going to take 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. At this point, you're going to let it proof, which just means making sure your yeast is active. So what you want to see is no dry granules after 10 minutes. When you come back, you should be able to see that your yeast is foaming, it is growing, it is activating. So let me show you what that will look like after 10 minutes. Real quick, while we're waiting for our batter to go ahead and proof, I just wanted to show you when I say that I'm milling spelt, spelt is just an ancient grain. It's a wheat. And this is what your wheat and your grains look like before they're milled. I have a milling machine that mills this into this. It's quite simple. This actually contains 40 of the 44 essential nutrients that we need in our diet in a day. Whereas store-bought flour is actually devoid of nutrients. Everything has been taken out, and all that is left is the endosperm, which is that starchy white stuff in the middle of your grain. So you're actually getting none of the health benefits. Plus, most store-bought flour is bleached. It has been sitting on the shelf for a long time, which means that it has broken down and it has lost any nutrients that are left in it. So this is why I mill freshly my flour. It is rich, nutty, has great flavor, and I just milled it. We are ready to go ahead and start mixing now that everything is proofed and it looks like our yeast is active and working. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on to mix, and I'm going to start adding my flour. We're going to need roughly 6 cups today. At this point, you can see it has picked up everything from the sides. It has formed a nice ball of dough, like so. I can touch it, it's not coming off on my fingers. This means we're ready to go. You can turn it out on a surface, do a very little bit of light kneading, and then we're going to separate it into individual balls, which we will let rest, rise, and eventually turn into our bagels. These are going to make roughly 16 bagels, so I like to separate it in half and then half again, and then each quarter should make 4. Kind of lets you know exactly how much you're needing. We're going to go ahead and make these balls, and then we will let them rest a few minutes before we go ahead and make the circles, and then let them do a 30-minute rise before their water bath. Boiling water actually just will heat it up. It will help with those air bubbles and keep your bagels light and airy. So I'm going to do 3 at a time at this pan. We'll do 30 seconds, flip them, another minute on the other side, and then they're going to go over here on my greased baking sheet. Over here, I will go ahead and do an egg wash, and you'll do any toppings that you want to do. So if you want to do cheese, you can do cheese. I have a nice poppy seed, sesame seed, a little bit of Himalayan pink salt, and I will put this right over my bagels. You could just do plain, just really anything you want. But this is when you're going to do it after the boiling, once they're on your greased cookie sheet. And then they will all bake in the oven for 20 minutes at 400 degrees. You can see how nice and puffy and risen this one is just after being in the boiling water for 1 minute, and these have just gone in and are ready to flip. A slotted spoon works really, really well for this to get rid of that water and transfer them over to your greased cookie sheet. Bagels, how easy was that? That really takes no time. The rising time is minimal and short, and it doesn't take that long as you have multiple pans going in the oven, which I had to do mine on 3 different cookie sheets. So 16 bagels in about an hour and 20 minutes, not so bad. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it just made sense and it was super easy for you, that you can tackle it too. I like to freeze these in baggies about 5 at a time because remember, there's no preservatives. This is artesian bread, which means it doesn't have preservatives in it. So it will go bad quickly on your counter, or about a week or so. So definitely, if you don't think you're gonna finish all those bagels, freeze them. They freeze beautifully. So I like to freeze a few, about 5 to a bag, and then just pull them out as needed.